Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Ox Talks. It is Sunday, February the 18th, 2024. Hope you all are having a productive weekend. Hope you're getting time to spend with some family, with some friends. Hopefully you're getting some time off of work to just kind of decompress and get ready for the new work week. I guess tomorrow technically is a holiday. I'll be at the office working. I have clients set up during the day and a pretty busy week ahead. Lots I want to share with you today. It's not so much economically focused. We'll get to that in a second. I want to first start out by saying thank you for watching these videos and subscribing to this channel. The ones that are subscribed, again, I really appreciate. The ones that are not subscribed, I hope you enjoy the content and you'll support the channel. We are growing. I really like the community we're building here. Please keep leaving the comments, engaging with me and with others in the community. Really appreciate it. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the bell notification as well, and let's continue to share these videos with family, friends, anybody who will listen and who has open ears and open eyes to connect the dots as to what is happening here. If you just get your news from mainstream media, you're not getting the full picture, guys. Okay, I think we all understand that. So last night I had the, I would say, privilege to meet Senator Dr. Rand Paul. He was in town for a private function. I was fortunate enough to be invited with a client. My wife and I went, and we did get to meet Senator Paul. We did get to take some photographs with him. He autographed a copy of his current book for us. And then we attended about a 1-hour presentation where he spoke. He primarily was speaking about his recent book. I'll let all of you go and look at that for yourself. The topic is obviously really important. Everybody pay attention to. If I go into it here on this video is going to get taken down. So can't do that. I'm sure you all understand and subscribe to. I'm not saying you support Senator Paul, but what he stood for during the pandemic and what he's continued to do. But he's also a fiscal conservative. He's a senator from Kentucky. He recently has been in the limelight because last week he was filibustering the Senate on the proposed Ukrainian aid package, which is like $95 billion. And what he was basically saying, whether you agree with him or not, what he was saying is, look at why are we not putting Americans first? This is a Ukraine first, not an American last proposal. We are $34 trillion in debt. Why are we continuing to send billions of dollars over to another country when we can't even pay our own bills? So look, the guy is super intelligent. I thought he spoke well last night. And he was asked after his presentation, one of the people that was putting on this private event asked him about 6 or 7 questions on other topics. And it was interesting. The question came up about Texas and the border and Governor Abbott and what's going on down there. And I will say this. I'm not getting into politics here. I'm just saying, I will say that his answer, from my perspective, was not necessarily as strong and forceful as I would have hoped to see. He was in a collective group of like-minded, people, politically aligned. So obviously, it was a safe place for him to be discussing these things, and it was less than direct. I guess when you're in politics, that is the way it goes. So anyway, very interesting. Got to meet this man, and we'll see. He says he has more amendments that's been passed. He's been able to get passed by holding up nominations, by filibustering. He said last night, that's how you have to get things done. He said, you can't be nice. You can't ask politely. He said, you have to basically say, okay, you guys aren't going home for the weekend to your families. You're not going to get this nomination through unless, you listen to what I have to say. So very interesting. I thought I would share that with all of you. So some articles that that I think are important to share that is coming out in the last couple of days that relate to the border. And The first one is out of the Hedge today. It says Texas, well, actually it came out yesterday. It says Texas to build military base camp on Mexico border to house 1,800 soldiers. It says in the latest signal of his resolve to stem the flow of illegal immigrants into the United States, Texas Governor Greg Abbott on Friday announced that the Lone Star State will build a military base along the Rio Grande at the border city of Eagle Pass, spanning 80 acres. Quote, forward operating base Eagle is the name of the base, will house upwards of 1,800 Texas National Guard soldiers supporting Operation Lone Star. And this will be able and will be expandable to house 2,300 National Guard soldiers. Texas Major General Thomas Swelzer said the camp will have 300 beds by mid-April and will add another 300 beds every month after that. It says because of the magnitude of what we're doing, because of the need to sustain and actually expand our efforts of what we are doing, it's essential that we build this base camp for the soldiers. As it is, soldiers are housed all over the area, varying living in hotels, tents, and even some private homes, and some bear long commutes. The article goes on to say, illegal crossings are down, and coincidentally, razor wire is up, said Greg Abbott. We will continue to muster the efforts that are needed to make sure that Texas does the job that the United States Congress has mandated. The new base, located about 6 miles south of the park, will include a 700-seat dining facility, workout equipment, a recreation center and laundries, vehicle maintenance bays, weapons storage rooms, and a helipad. Soldiers will have individual rooms. And it concludes by saying, on Friday, officials said they will add more barriers extending to the north and south of Shelby Park. The recreational site seized by the state in January add 3 fan boats to the river patrol capacity and expand drone and radar capabilities. Some 3,000 Texas troops are deployed along the 1,200-mile-long Mexican frontier. So that is the update on what Governor Abbott's doing in Texas to stem the tide of the illegal immigration. I had a subscriber email me about a week and a half ago. I won't give full name, but Tia, I did write back and tell Tia that I would share this because it relates to the border crisis. And it's not so much as a crisis for the humans, but it's a crisis for the animals. And I would encourage all of you to check out this. It was published on February the 6th of 2024 in the New York Post. It's a very long article. There are a lot of photographs depicting what's going on at the border. But the title is Pet Dogs Traveling Thousands of Miles to U.S.-Mexico Border Are Being Abandoned by Migrant Owners in New Crisis. So look, we all love our animals. We all love our dogs, our cats, and so this is a real crisis unfolding down there because these animals are being abandoned by the thousands. So I'm going to touch on some of the key points of this article, but I would encourage all of you to go check that out. Again, New York Post from February 6th of 2024. It says, faithful dogs are walking thousands of miles to the U.S.-Mexico border with their migrant owners, only to be abandoned in droves once there. Migrants trekking to the U.S. either bring their pets or pick animals up along the way without realizing animals are subject to strict rules for entry at the border. Pets are also not allowed into federal processing centers, causing many to ditch their dogs right there, leaving them to fend for themselves in the harsh conditions at the southern border. The Post spotted dozens of domestic breeds of dogs, now strays, wandering on both sides of the border at Eagle Pass, Texas this month. Many were simply abandoned, like the piles of clothing, backpacks, shoes, and children's toys discarded all along the banks of the Rio Grande. Some were injured, many looked terrified and flinched even when just being passed a bowl of water. Most were starving and reduced to scrounging for food wherever possible. It says authorities, including members of the National Guard, feed and care for the animals they encounter on the streets in the area. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention requires that dogs have a valid microchip and rabies vaccination certificate among other strict criteria, before they enter the country in order to protect the health of U.S. citizens. So it's a real crisis because, who's going to, number one, take care of all that processing? Who's going to pay for it? Obviously, the migrants that are trying to come over here don't have the wherewithal to do that. The number of dogs at the border is also multiplying rapidly, it says, as new litters are born to the abandoned ones. However, local shelters in Eagle Pass are overrun with the sheer number of homeless dogs along the border. I don't know what the solution here is. I just wanted to share this because it's something that I don't think has been covered very much. And certainly it's something that's probably being overlooked. So if any of you are in the area down there or have resources that you could, try to maybe stem this, address it somehow. Again, I don't pretend to have any solution here, but I wanted you to all be aware of it, especially those animal lovers out there. Okay, the next article I want to share with you is out of The Hedge today. It was just updated again. This is about the truckers that are looking to, a lot of posts on X about this, that are discussing boycotting deliveries to New York City. And this all stemmed, I guess, from the last verdict that came down in this Trump trial last week in New York. But you've got some truckers who are saying, look, we're tired of this, and they're taking their own stand here. What they're threatening is to not only boycott deliveries to New York City, but to other cities that they deem to be, politically against, their position, or they're saying liberal cities. So let's watch how this unfolds. Another level of what's going on here with the division in this country. And it says truck drivers transport between 70 to 73% of all freight in the United States. Therefore, when truckers begin discussing plans on social media to boycott loads to progressive, it says, hellhole New York City, it's important to pay attention. Ex-user, this was this guy, Chicago One Ray, who appears to be a Midwest truck driver, shared a video late Friday night detailing that a number of truck drivers will begin denying loads to New York City on Monday. And he says, quote, I don't know how far across the country this is or how many truckers are going to start denying loads to NYC, but I'll tell you, you F around and find out, Chicago One Ray said. Again, you can go over to X and check out his whole speech. It is very to the point. It says, by Saturday morning, the video had amassed nearly 3,000 views. This comes after I talked about the New York judge handed down the verdict on last week, another verdict on Trump. So take a look at that. Let's watch it. Again, it seems to be heating up. We'll see if there's any follow through on this. But there was a chart that was in this Zero Hedge article I thought was very, very interesting. And we talk about having a just-in-time delivery system where the shelves in our supermarkets or our stores are restocked every 3 days. If there would be an interruption lasting longer than 3 days, how severe and how, let's say, quickly a crisis would unfold. And so let me read this to you. It says, what would happen 24 hours if no deliveries were made? It says, delivery of medical supplies to the affected areas will cease. Hospitals will run out of, this is at 24 hours. Hospitals will run out of basic supplies such as syringes. Service stations will begin to run out of fuel. Manufacturers using just-in-time manufacturing will develop component shortages. U.S. mail and other package delivery will cease. Within 1 day, food shortages will begin to develop. Automobile fuel availability and delivery will dwindle, leading to skyrocketing prices and long lines at gas stations. At the 2 to 3 day mark, if there's a serious disruption in deliveries, we say food shortages will escalate, especially in the face of hoarding and consumer panic. Supplies of essentials such as bottled water, powdered milk, and canned meat at major retailers will disappear off the shelves. ATMs will run out of cash, and banks will be unable to process transactions. Service stations will completely run out of fuel for autos and trucks. That's at 2 to 3 days, folks. It says garbage will start piling up in urban and suburban areas. Container ships will sit idle in the ports, and rail transport will be disrupted, eventually coming to a standstill. Because, of course, these trucks pick up the freight containers at the ports and they deliver them all over the country. Let's talk about 1 week. What happens at 1 week without deliveries? Automobile travel will cease due to the lack of fuel, and hospitals will begin to exhaust oxygen supplies. Second week, The nation's clean water supply will begin to run dry. At the 4th week, the nation will exhaust its clean water supply. Illness will increase further, fraying an already weakened health care system. So, look at, if something like this actually happened, it would not take long to have a serious impact on you and I. So we talk about having yourself prepared, having a backup plan for food, for water, for medications, for security, for medical supplies, power sources, solar, gas-powered generators, things like of that nature, ways to cook if there's a power outage situation. And if your generators are running off of gasoline, you better have some gasoline put back, some backup, or you're not going to be able to run your generator if it's a gas-powered generator. So all these things could really happen quickly in the event of, let's even say something like this, where truckers just stop coming to a certain area and you have an implosion in that area. It could get ugly. Is this intended to be a panic message? No. Is it a doom and gloom message? No, it's just factual. It's what will happen as days go by if there would be a failure of these deliveries to come into a city, whether it be by a grid down situation, an earthquake that disrupts the roads or travel, or just a boycott in general. It's the same end result, folks. So please think about getting yourself prepared. Let's see, it's 16 minutes. I had one more article to share with you today. I'll just reference it briefly. I didn't see it last week. Talks about Cleveland-Cliffs, a steel manufacturing company that is laying off and closing down, laying off 900 workers after the International Trade Commission voted against imposing tariffs on tin imports. Very, very sad. You know what? This deserves more attention than just me going quickly glossing over it. So I will deal with it tomorrow, because we're already getting about 17 minutes, and that's where I like to keep these shows. I did get a workout this morning, 1 hour full body workout, and back at it tomorrow. I hope all of you took the time this weekend to do something active. It doesn't matter if it's hiking, walking, maybe some tennis, some pickleball, whatever it is. Move. Just keep moving, keep burning calories, and do some strength training and watch the diet. Again, the weekends it's easy to get kind of sloppy, start letting snacks trickle in from boredom or just being around the house. Try to exercise some restraint in not doing that. I fall victim to it as well all the time. I'll grab some chips or whatever my kids have, and I have to continue to be disciplined about the diet. It's as important, if not more important, than the exercise. So I hope, again, all of you are having a great rest of your weekend. And I'll be in the office tomorrow, so I plan to, although it's a holiday, I do plan to get some video uploaded tomorrow, and I'll talk to you all then. Bye.